All right, welcome on back to the Herd Sportsbook UFC Vegas 54 edition. Of course, still reeling off that, still just very odd, but of course always exciting. UFC 273 pay-per-view.
You know what fight I've honestly had to talk about with people more than any other fight, which is kind of surprising to me? The Rose Carlo one. That's the one I'm hearing the most about.
For all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, everybody's more a casual fan, they're just hitting me up. They're like, "What the hell was that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, that's I can't even."
Yeah, there's
because they know that I appreciate the technical side of MMA, but I'm like, yeah, no, that's not even that's a whole different strategy. Fight, man. Rose, like I said, she had great footwork, but in terms of actual ability there was not much shown.
Yeah, man. Oh well, it is what it is at this point.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least for this card in particular, not nearly as big as a pay-per-view. It's actually relatively small, even for a fight night. Getting started at 7:30 this week, so
is that the main card or the prelims?
The prelims.
Prelims.
Yeah, so it's a later start for sure.
I like that though. I'll be able to actually watch it after work. Well, the early part of the prelims. I'm always missing them.
Yeah, man.
Now I'll watch them back.
Yeah, hopefully we don't get anyone just not eating what they shouldn't be eating before fight and then having the fight called off, because that's never a good thing. But like I said, it is what it is at this point with last week's pay-per-view. Exciting as hell regardless, and just, of course, the landscape of the entire UFC changes just like that. And, there's the first event. Since then, we've got... I like it in the sense that this it's kind of different this time around. Where it's a smaller card, but there are a lot of favorites. So in which case value is not going to be as easy to come around really whatsoever this time around. So it's really just all about where you're spending up on, and essentially even if you can't get an upset from your underdogs, it's pretty much all about just how well can they score in the, at least obviously depending on what site you're playing on, but all at the end of the day, can they're still able to pay off price tag regardless in a win or loss, in which case a term that we've used before that obviously is not as advised to do really at all on most cards, but at least for this one, the strategy and concept of fight stacking could be perhaps in play as just like that real simple way to be different from a lot of lineups in the field. There's one fight in particular that could warrant that we'll certainly get into, but what better way than to get it just started off at the top with the light heavyweight main event between the plus 160 underdog on DraftKings, the former champion Jan Blachowicz, taking on the minus 190 favorite Alexander Rakic. And at least for me, maybe I won't say this should be necessarily a pick 'em in the sense we're really sleeping on Jan here, he's the former champion, yada yada. I think he should be the underdog here.
You think Jan should be the underdog? Okay.
I do think Jan should be the underdog here. Just kind of, and it's first of all, that last fight with Glover was pretty concerning, I think, to me.
Didn't
look
kind of feel the same way
at all. But in that same sense, Alexander Rakic is coming off a pretty questionable loss too, in the sense that he just wasn't doing nearly enough.
That was the Santos fight, wasn't it? Okay,
I mean, just to.
I don't think he's fought since then. It's been a long time, actually.
Yeah, March of last year. So it's literally been over a year since Alexander Rakic's last step foot in the cage. But
I don't blame him though. I mean, there wasn't really, that division kind of was in a weird place, and he had already fought Anthony Smith, and ranking wise, that's the only thing that made sense. But nobody was really trying to see that again. I mean, well, I wouldn't mind it. I think they're both really good fighters, but it's just the UFC clearly didn't want to do that one again.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Well, I mean, we've got. So in terms of price tags, because I guess the price tags would kind of incline that the odds here are a little bit wider than they actually are.
Yeah.
You have Rakic on DraftKings checking in at 8,700, and then Jan, who, I mean, in terms of like just buy low opportunities here, like, I mean, how wrong can you really go with a $7,500 Jan Blachowicz here against Alexander Rakic? I mean, I just think in the sense that, you know, obviously it's a 5-round fight. We talk about it all the time. Like, these 5-round fights, you kind of just take them where you can get them, and then just, you know, hopefully you're falling on the winning side of it, of course. But this one in particular, like, at least how I see it's going to go, not to say, like, this is definitely how it's going to go, but just a more, very, like, slow, at least start, methodical feeling out process, I think, between the two. And then just the longer the fight goes on, I think, is the more and more we're going to see just volume, though, like Jan's typical power punching approach. And I don't, you know, in the sense that Jan Blachowicz does a really good job with guys that try to walk him down. I don't think Rakic gives that to him here. And that where it goes from there, I'm not sure. But I do like, as much as I do actually like 8,700 Rakic here on DK, 7,500 for Jan, like that, there's clearly just ton of upside in that, I think, for sure. So that's definitely worth taking stabs at. I wonder how you're feeling about it as well.
I feel like Jan, like you said, like is good at 7,500 just because, like, I feel like the fight is, like, close enough that it's not, like, a crazy out there risk. And I think that, like, if Jan does win, he probably would put up the stats. Like, I think that he would, like, probably land a couple good punches
it seems
or
like just
takedowns.
it just seems like a very generous price tag.
Yeah, no, it's a little further, I guess, than it probably should be. I still think Rakic, though, is probably going to be able to pull this one out just because I think that the title fight loss is definitely going to be still in Jan's mind, and I'm pretty sure they're both. No, yeah, I think they both like might have been like injured for some points. Like I forget who pulled out of the last time, like when they were matched up, but I'm pretty sure they're both coming off like decent like injuries, I would say. So I don't know how that fares for either of them. But the one thing that like is really worth noting to me is like I think that Rakic is really going to be fighting from the outside, and I think his opportunities are going to come when Jan is exploding in to try and land, because I think he's going to be able to frustrate Jan, whether that be by keeping his distance or holding him up against the cage. Because I do think they have similar strength, even though that Jan probably has better wrestling. I just think that Rakic's takedown defense is good enough to stop it. And I think that just when Jan is coming forward like that and like trying to land those jabs or those like looping punches, he's probably going to have some problems with Rakic's leg kicks or his like returning jabs, because I think they have the same reach. Rakic, I think, is taller, but it's just like, I don't know, Rakic's leg kicks, they're like for real, man. Like they got so much power behind them. So it's just like when Jan's coming in, I think that those leg kicks are going to stifle his movement like very quickly, sort of like it did to Anthony Smith.
Yeah. We got Rakic by just simple decision victory, plus 200. I don't hate really at all. And then for Jan, plus 450. And then the knockout props are actually were like, you know, that's essentially how vague, like, this is either going to end in a finish via knockout or it's going the whole way, essentially, is what Vegas is thinking here.
It's going to either end with a finish or go the whole way. Isn't that how they all work?
Well, no, but finish by a knockout.
Oh, knockout, my bad. I didn't hear that part. I thought you were just saying, like, yeah, the fight's either going to end by a finish or it's going to be a decision. Like, yeah. I agree.
That's typically how it goes.
Yeah, unless you got the Jeremy Stevens, Yair Rodriguez eye poke within 15 seconds, or Leon Edwards and Bilal Muhammad.
Yeah, just a bunch of trash luck. But,
yeah, that's Jesus. I hate when that happens, especially in the main event.
Yeah, but no, like, I mean, in terms of like these props here, like, I'm probably nothing really stands out.
What about Jan by submission?
That's a plus 1,000.
That's not that bad.
Yeah,
because he has like really good back takes and he's like a lot better on the ground than people give him credit for. But I still don't think that he's going to be able to do those things to Rakic. But I think like plus 1,000, like if you got a couple dollars to just put it down on it, like I think it's not like a horrible risk.
Yeah, no, I like
Rakic's got like a long body too. Like I think it's easy for Jan to be able to get like his arm under his neck. Like as stupid as that sounds, that's a real thing.
My favorite bet would probably just be Jan by points, honestly. Considering it's even on FanDuel, you're getting even like slightly even better odds for it. Nothing too wild. I think Jan Blachowicz is more than capable of landing enough to just get the decision victory, however that might go. And yeah, that's really it. But that being said, though, like Jan 7,500 on for that power that he packs with that punch, like there's more than enough upside in that price tag, I think. So that's definitely worth taking some stabs at. But definitely like Alexander Rakic as a favorite here. Next is kind of like just
Isn't it crazy you bet like it's like I feel this way, but like isn't it crazy that like you bet against a guy who was literally the champion like not even a year ago? Like that's unbelievable.
It's so I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of like
career. It matters. It matters
for sure. Yeah, no, especially in obviously a fight like this with for Rakic, but I don't know. I just feel like career paths right now. I just feel like Rakic has
it's crossroads.
Whereas Jan might be just. Hopefully, I hope not. I'm a huge Jan Blachowicz fan, but
yeah, man, I don't know. He's been at the top for a while, dude. And now it's hard to stay there, especially at that age. But light heavyweight, I will say this for him though, it is like easier to get more up there in age. Like those guys at like lightweight at like 37, 38, it gets a little tougher. But like at light heavyweight or heavyweight, things like that, like when you're up in those like age groups, you can still do some things, but it gets a little tougher for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just move gears right over to most certainly fight of the night potential right here in the co-main event between Ryan Spann and Ion Cutelaba. Get the $8,900 Cutelaba taking on the $7,300 Ryan Spann on DK. And, I mean, in terms of odds, money line odds and whatnot, we have Cutelaba as the minus 225 favorite, Ryan Spann as the plus 185 underdog. And I know you're gonna have a few things to speak on this one, but I get it. They clearly just think Cutelaba's striking, like if it's gonna stay on the feet, it's gonna be able to hold them over. It's gonna go to the ground, and it's gonna be completely in Cutelaba's favor.
Is it though? I don't like. I think that Cutelaba, he's got a lot of power. He is good on the ground, but like I think everywhere where Cutelaba is good, besides maybe the actual power in his hands, I think Ryan Spann's better than him. Okay. I don't think that Ryan Spann's that bad. Like I think that Anthony Smith fight more than anything was a lot of pressure, like mental pressure.
Yeah.
And I that's one of the things I was going to point out too. Like I think that the fact that this fight, he doesn't have that much pressure on him, I think is going to help him a lot. And I think that that'll help his overall skill come out. And when he's fighting at his best, he's got power in his hands, good wrestling, good top control. He's like a typical, like, just ground and pound fight, like grind it out. Or he is, like, capable of, like, staying on the feet. Like, his losses are all, like, either wars or they're just like fluke type things, like were mental mistakes. I just don't see him making any mental mistakes in this one. I think it's the other way around, because Cutelaba likes to brawl a lot. He gets like although I will say this, for a brawler he's got some fight IQ, because even though he lost that first fight with Magomed Ankalaev, the fact that he would think in the middle of a fight to play possum to get him like to go over and exert himself is like, that's smart. Like you gotta like actually think to do that in a fight. So I just think it's like weird though, because they both like are very like similar, like they both have similar styles. I just think Ryan Spann is getting better, while I think Cutelaba is just staying at the same spot. And I think that this fight is gonna show that.
Yeah, I mean, well, Cutelaba is actually a favorite to win by knockout here, which,
if there's going to be anything. Like, I would bet that, like, more
for sure, like, yeah, I mean, I could definitely say, like, if this fight, Cutelaba is going to win this fight, like, probably within the first round, honestly, first 2 rounds at least.
He's got mad power, man. Like, if he cracks him, like, clean, that's what I'm saying. He does have that, like, lights out potential.
No, I don't, like, I really don't. Hey, I definitely, it's worth having, like, exposure to both of these guys here. I mean, you know, obviously in a cash game, like, Cutelaba is probably the safer bet to put your money on, obviously, is the minus 225 favorite. And then, I don't know, I still feel like if this is going to be going to the ground, I feel like, in terms of, like, control time and whatnot, I feel like Cutelaba can, you know, and certainly probably dominate there. But
I just don't. That's where I think we disagree. I don't see it. Like, yeah, no, that's just it. Like, it's just simple as that. Like, I think Spann will just get up or reverse it. I just think he's a lot stronger too. That's the other thing, because Ryan Spann is like a natural light heavyweight, and Cutelaba is
essentially like Vegas just thinks this fight is not going the whole way. Like, someone's gonna win this by.
I don't know. I mean, it's possible. I don't really know where it goes, like, in terms of finishing, like, either them finishing the fight or a decision. But I'm confident that Ryan Spann will win. Like, I will say that. Okay. And I think that, like, 7,300 to, like, for him on DraftKings compared to 8,700, that's, like, ridiculous.
No, yeah. And then, yeah, even the plus 185 money line odds for Ryan Spann, too. Like, I think that's definitely a bet worth taking.
Yeah, like, the fact that everybody's just... I think it's because of that Anthony Smith fight, honestly. That's my, like, view on it. And I don't think he's as bad as that fight made it seem.
Huh? Well, yeah, that was a nice little talk right there. I'm pretty, like, yeah, once again, I feel like that fight just definitely has fight of the night potential. We'll get to another fight later that certainly has that, which is even closer than this one, which, I mean, this one's not even really that close whatsoever, but, yeah, like, you clearly disagree and think it should be, and,
it's fucking wild, those, like, that, not really the odds as much, because I think it's, like, decently close, but, like, it's just the fact that they have him, like, at almost, Cutelaba at almost 9K on DraftKings, and then Spann, like, it's literally, he's like a blip, like, in the radar. Like, they think, like, they don't even think that he's gonna win. Like, it's usually those fights that, like, because I would understand it if Cutelaba was the favorite and it was, like, 8-4 to, like, 7-9 or some shit like that. But, like, the fact that it's literally, like, that far apart is kind of wild.
Yeah, Cutelaba is a pretty, like, comfortable favorite, so. I mean, we'll see how that line moves and whatnot, but
guess so.
Yeah, that's where we're at right now, so we can just keep it rolling over to an even bigger favorite here, which, I mean, I think you also have your thoughts on this one, but I think for the most part you agree with what the sites are thinking here between Davy Grant and Louise Smolka, minus 300 favorite, and Davy Grant taking on the plus 235 underdog Louise Smolka.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, what am I supposed to say? I love the finish upside here for Davy Grant at 9,100. Like, Louise Smolka, I think, yeah, we've seen it by now. Like, this guy, like, he can hold his own in a fight. He can take shots. He can take damage, but
he's got creative striking and very good jiu-jitsu. Underrated for sure. I think that if Smolka can get Davy Grant down, Davy might have problems if he can't get up.
Okay.
But I don't think that's going to happen because I think that Smolka's chin is a little bit worse than it used to be because he's been around for such a long time and he has been finished like a bunch. So I just think that Grant has so much power in his hands, especially at 135. And then, like, yeah, I just think Davy Grant's going to land one of those punches just clean on his chin.
And I mean, if we're gonna just talk in terms of, like, the fight we just talked about, and, you know, these two, you know, Cutelaba and Davy Grant obviously being at the top, not too close far from each other, like, Davy Grant's probably the pretty, like, easy choice of the two between me, quite frankly. I do think Cutelaba more than you do, quite frankly, packs that finish upside, like, via knockout, but Davy Grant, like, I feel like there's just so many more avenues for young Cutelaba to not only just, you know, just the fight, but for him to lose as well. That's
kind of how I feel.
Davy Grant, I just feel like I mean, like, once again, I can see Louise Smolka, like, hanging in there, but once again, like, even if this does go all 3 rounds, like, it's likely, at least what I think is be in a pretty, like, decisive Davy Grant decision victory.
Yeah.
So,
I think Smolka, the only way he wins is if he takes him down and holds him there, or submits him from there, but I just don't see it. I think he doesn't have the ability at this point to just stand in the pocket with Davy Grant and, like, not get caught.
Yeah, 9,100 for a guy who's a -110 favorite to win by knockout. I mean, yeah, I'm going to take my chances every day of the week. So, yeah, that's probably, in terms of two guys we've talked to so far, Davy Grant, it's probably my favorite, hands down. But, no, I'm still gonna be right. I'm still gonna be backing Jan Kutila over here. I'm very interested to see how that fight goes, but relatively easy fight to break down between Davy Grant, Louise Smolka. This next fight, however, I think we definitely will have a bit more to say. Our first women's match of the card between Caitlyn Chukaygan and Amanda Hebos. Amanda Hebos, who's actually moving up for this fight to take on the obviously bigger Caitlyn Chukaygan. And in Switch sense, like, we kind of talked about it before the show, but Amanda Hebos is grappling, like, could probably do just enough for her to, maybe pull something out, or at least just hang in there. But I don't know. I feel like just Caitlyn Chukaygan might just have her beat in all facets. How are you feeling? Any more, like, additional in-depth thoughts about this one?
Yeah, by the way, I feel like I should just say this because I'm, like, almost certain we're going to hear it in the video.
Yeah, no, it's
if you guys hear that sound, we apologize, but we're just going to power right through it. But in terms of this fight, Caitlyn Chukaygan, I think she's one of those people who's, like, really good in her own right. She's just not as good as the champ. And I think that she'll win almost every other fight in that division besides Valentina and maybe, like, a couple people at the top. I don't really know who off the top of my head, but it's just, like, I think that Chukaygan, she has really good striking, and it's very accurate, and, like, she's not missing much when she throws. And I think that Hebos has always had trouble closing the distance on good strikers. We saw that in the Rodriguez fight, and that's at strawweight. So, like, I can't imagine it gets any easier with Chukaygan at 125.
Yeah.
I think maybe her punches might pack a little more power, which Chukaygan has to watch out for, but I don't think it'll be enough to stop her. Only Andrade really and Valentina have been able to figure that part out against Chukaygan. So I don't know. I think the only way that Hebos can really be, like, super effective is if she controls her on the ground, which I don't think she's able to do. I think that she can get her down maybe with some, like, judo, which is, like, because it's pretty unorthodox in MMA. Like, you don't see it much because you're pretty much giving up your back sometimes. But I think that Caitlyn's ground game is probably, like, one of the most underrated, like, parts of, like, anybody's game, like, in the UFC, just because, like, you think of her as a striker because of, like, the way that she fights, but, like, when she does, like, get on the ground, like, as long as it wasn't against, like, Valentina, she has good submissions. She has leg locks in her game. Like, she's very, very, very underrated. So I think that Hebos will have a lot more trouble controlling her, and I think that it'll be mostly on the feet, which is why I see Chukaygan just running away with it.
I mean, for what it's worth, too, like, these knockout odds for Caitlyn Chukaygan are probably some of the best, like, you'll ever see in a Caitlyn Chukaygan fight. Plus 450 on DK and plus 500, yeah, so essentially the same on both sites. I mean, like, Caitlyn Chukaygan is one of these fighters who are, like, in terms of fantasy, whatnot, point scoring and all that, never someone you're really, chomping at the bit to get to and in this case, obviously, spend up for.
Stats.
But
while you're finishing up, I'm going to see if I can do something real quick.
But this knockout prop, for what it's worth, like, some that's not over, like, plus 700 for a knockout finish with Caitlyn Chukaygan, honestly, is worth throwing at least a few bucks on, I think.
I knocked the guy out. He's dead.
Done.
The problem has been handled. I think there was one more open window that I did not think would be a problem, obviously, because I didn't expect the landscaper to sabotage our podcast. We might have to get Shane over here to fuck him up. Shout out to him.
And,
but, yeah, sorry.
No,
that kind of
sounds a lot quieter now, so, I mean, that's good. But,
yeah, now it's just a vibration.
No, yeah, man. I was just talking about, like, in terms of, like, the props and whatnot, method of victories for this fight, like, just Caitlyn Chukaygan knockout, like, once again, like, probably some of the best odds you're gonna get in a Caitlyn Chukaygan fight. So don't hate it, but her 8,600 price tag on DK, I'm okay. I don't need it. I do like the $18 on FanDuel though. I think that's worth getting to for sure. But that wraps it for this one. All right, with that, moving on to the next fight that is probably the best fight in terms of just, betting on this entire card, and just has, I won't say a bunch of avenues to finish, but certainly could be some fireworks between Frank Camacho and Manuel Torres. The minus 125 favorite in Manuel Torres. Frank Camacho coming in as a plus 105 underdog. In terms of the DraftKings price tags,
they're pretty close. I remember that from just before when I made that lineup.
As they should. With Camacho 7,900, Manuel Torres 83.
Yeah, see, I remember.
So I think that's actually really accurate right there. I think those numbers really fall in line with the odds here, and just. In terms of, like, what's optimal, in daily fantasy, like, we always want to think about what's going to be optimal, like, what is probably the most likely, path of, just something to happen and, to make a winning lineup. And I think having exposure, whichever you feel, for whatever reason, maybe whatever it be, Frank Camacho's $400 discount, or, ownership, obviously, or just... You think the numbers are just wrong. You think Frank Camacho should be the favorite here. I think you definitely want to back someone in this fight, or even if you're not going to back anyone, you just think this fight just has it's just going to pack a ton of fantasy point scoring upside, which it certainly can, which I personally certainly think it will. Yeah, man, I think you definitely want to be getting to this one in terms of just like. I think Frank Camacho is definitely, like, it's probably more in his sense, like, the way he fights. He's pretty, like, wild and, like, essentially, like, the way a fight's going to go is going to be, like, pretty volatile in the sense of, like, is it going to end in a finish or, like, nothing much is going to happen. But,
because of that, I have Torres in this fight because I think that Camacho is going to leave himself open to get either knocked out or submitted, and I think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I just think it's like it's going to be a good fight while it lasts, and I just think that either Camacho's going to get clipped, or he's going to be probably like shooting in for a takedown, and then he gets guillotined because Torres does have a nice guillotine. So and the other thing is too. It's just that Camacho is coming off a couple rough losses, and I'm pretty sure that Torres is still fairly like young and confident, and that matters a lot. Similarly to the main event, and obviously like a much lesser much lesser importance. That I'm trying to say. Jesus, that was a bad one on my part.
Hey, you got it.
We got it in the end, though. But. Yeah, that fight, though, it's just like... Because Camacho, it seems like it's going more downhill, and Torres, it seems like it's going uphill.
Yeah.
So, that's
kinda
just
like
how I see it.
kind of like the main event in a sense.
That's pretty much what I was trying to say. Just at lesser stakes, I'll say that. That's definitely less of a tongue twister for our audience.
And, like, these two, like, in terms... They're not... I won't say inexpensive, but you're not breaking the bank for either guy either. In which case, like... in terms of obviously a smaller card, not as many, only such a handful of genuine good underdogs that are definitely worth betting on. This fight right here, I think just offers it just two really solid mid-range options here with obviously, and then in terms of just the fight in general, just the volatility it packs, and this the first round finish upside for either of these guys, I'll say. But yeah, I'm gonna back the favorite here with you, Emmanuel Torres. Just the minus. FanDuel is actually minus 132 for Emmanuel Torres there. Actually, no, never. Okay, yeah. So So I mean, what I'm noticing so far is like both sites in terms of like money line odds or whatnot. Like they're, no real disagreements or anything whatnot. So like everything is relatively in line with all these fights so far. No like real dissentments or disagreements between the two sides. But Torres 8,300 on DK, and then even the FanDuel price tag. I mean, FanDuel this fight, I think I don't think you really need much of this fight over there, like, because I mean, like I said, if you're feeling with Rob in terms of do you think it's gonna happen quick, like just Frank Camacho is just gonna allow it from the get-go, or this is something that's gonna build as the fight goes on, and then Emmanuel Torres is just gonna catch him?
Could be either, honestly. Like it could end quickly, or it could build up, like you said. It could hurt him over a period of time. Like it all, I see it ending in a finish. I'll just say that. Like if you think that you want to get some points in the finish, I would go with Torres.
All right,
and that's it.
Solid, yeah. Well, I mean, that's just gonna take us right over to these prelims. And
they're actually pretty good for a fight night, especially after a pay-per-view.
Oh, yeah. I mean, let's get it started here with, because I was following the theme of the theme of the OGs, all the OGs from last week's pay-per-view. Let's talk about one right here, Michael Johnson taking on Alan Patrick, the minus 145 favorite Michael Johnson taking on the plus 125 underdog Alan Patrick. Another relatively close one here in terms of the odds. In terms of price tags, Michael Johnson checks in at an 8,400 tag on DK, and Alan Patrick not too far behind, 7,800. This one I definitely don't feel the same way I do about Frank Camacho and Emmanuel Torres.
Nah.
But
I feel like there's more variability. Just because I can never predict how Michael Johnson's going to do.
Exactly. That's why I was looking at his money line. I was like, and I was just thinking like, I do think should he be the favorite? Yes, but I could just see this being like really, really, really close.
I think Johnson will still be able to get the win. Like I think it's two guys in like a similar spot in their careers, and I think that Johnson has the skill to like outbox them because they're both good strikers. But Johnson's boxing to this day is still like really slick. To this day. But I think it's just like more of a thing like confidence maybe. Sometimes your chin. And then whether Alan Patrick decides to wrestle or not. But I don't know. I just think that Michael Johnson is going to be able to get it done, as like unpredictable as he is sometimes. And like for those of you guys who don't know, because he's definitely at like a lower point now than he was. Yeah,
for sure.
Like Michael Johnson has wins. Go on his Tapology real quick. That's actually the best thing that we could do right now. We need to see. Not Michael Jackson. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a Tapology, not to my knowledge. Well, actually, no, he does. Remember the guy CM Punk lost to in his second fight? Yeah, that's Michael Jackson.
Yes, there is.
Can't believe it. We actually just talked about that fight.
Michael
19 and 17.
Michael the Menace.
There's another thing with that too. I think the fact that he has that record makes it a little easier to fight. Like there's not as much pressure.
No, yeah. Like you kind of took the words.
That's crazy though.
Kind of took the words out of my mouth. Like you have no idea how you can think you know how a Michael Johnson fight is about to go, but not until it happens.
See, now let me say this though, because all right, so he's lost his last four. But Clay Guida is still, in my opinion, really good. Thiago Moises is a really good fighter. I remember that Stevie Ray fight. I thought he won that fight. It was a close decision.
Josh Emmett.
And that was bad. He got destroyed now. But so you look at that, but then you go down more. Let's go to really down to the lightweight beginnings. Let's see, where's he at? Here we go. So he has a win over Tony Ferguson, and that was the last last loss Tony Ferguson had before that 12-fight win streak. He beat Joe Lozon, Gleason Tebow, Melvin Gillard. Those are all like OGs of the old days. Did beat Edson Barboza. He knocked out. That's right. He knocked out Dustin Poirier.
You can't forget the Poirier win, of course.
Knocked out Poirier. Beat the GOAT Artem Lobov.
I mean, dude,
that was his last win. That's crazy. Yeah, but then he'll lose to people you've never heard of, like people who are bagging your groceries at Stop and Shop. Like, it's unbelievable. And he's lost to some great guys too. Like, he had the war with Justin Gaethje when Gaethje first came into UFC.
Bro.
Diaz, he lost to Nate Diaz. There was one other one that was on there that I completely forgot about, but
I don't know what it is with him.
Habib, yeah, he lost to Habib badly, but that was when he was like number 5 in the world, so that gives you an idea. But yeah, I just think that his experience with higher level opponents is going to get him through this one. Personally,
yeah,
I think he'll have a rebound win.
And I mean, in terms of numbers, I think they're all fine. Like even the minus 145 favorite, $8,400 price tag. It's
not
all
bad.
fine. You know, I don't see a ton of value or I guess really upside either. But yeah.
In my opinion, this is like one of those fights. It's like when you have like 5 or 6 people in your DraftKings lineup, and then like you have like a certain amount of money to spend, and Michael Johnson's there, and you think he might win by knockout. You're like,
someone
okay,
like a last,
opportunistic.
Exactly.
Let me put it like that.
Yeah,
yeah.
I like the way you put that. But
you're not gonna be searching for it. That's for sure.
Nah, definitely not. Especially with all we've already talked about a bunch of like guys in this price range already that are definitely worth getting to in our humble opinion. But this right here, I'm actually very interested to get your thoughts on. It actually looks like the closest bout on the entire card. I just want... yeah, it is even closer than Frank Camacho and Amanda Torres. Between Viviana Rojo and Andrea Lee, who Andrea Lee I know is riding a pretty huge wave of momentum right now. Coming off that Calvillo. Yep.
I think it continues.
The Shevchenko fight, the Calvillo fight, 2-fight win streak right now. Both those fights ended in finishes.
That Calvillo fight is going to be one of those fights that people forget about, but like people need to realize just how good she looked in that fight. Like, she was not just like, she used to kind of pick people apart before. She walked her down and pieced her up. Like and hurt her. Like, I think that was the corner stoppage.
The road to the top is not getting any easier here with Viviana Rojo. Like, this fight,
it's a good name.
And then just real guy just pulled up the FanDuel odds. FanDuel has this as like in literal pick'em here. So there you have it. Easily the closest fight of the card right here. And I want to back Andrea Lee here. I really do. But first of all, I think a large majority of the field is going to be doing that already. So that's where ownership comes into play. In which case, Viviana Rojo checking in at a $8,000 price tag. So essentially the same price, which rightfully so. But at least on DraftKings as the underdog, like it essentially just comes down to strategy and whatnot. Especially for this card where ownership is likely going to be a lot more concentrated because it's just smaller, and we just have just clear spots and whatnot that are obviously worth getting to. But yeah, I have no problem backing either girl here. And if you just have maybe a quick prediction of how you could see this going.
Yeah, I see Andrea Lee winning it fairly easily.
Fairly easy decision victory.
Yeah, I think she's, like you pointed out, she's on that massive wave of momentum, and this is, I think, where you really see your gambling mind and my fight mind, because in my mind this is one of those fights that's almost a sure thing. I just think that Andrea Lee, she's longer. She's going to be able to... how do you say it? Vivian Rojo?
I say Rojo.
We'll go with it. Yeah. But Vivian, she's going to have a hard time closing the distance, I think. And I think she's going to get battered while she's doing it. This is the same fighter who also lost to Jessica Ai, who's obviously not as good of a striker, in my opinion at least, as Andrea Lee is. And I think Andrea Lee has more ways to win too. I think that she's really good on the ground as well. She's really strong. I just think that she's coming into her own, and this is just another stepping stone to get up further to the top. So that's where I say in my mind, like she's like a really good pick for where she's at because she could be a 9K fighter if you ask me.
Okay.
That's like that's
Cool.
more what I have in my mind, I guess.
No,
Because I get what you're saying about the ownership. Like that makes sense. But for me, it's more like I think that she's undervalued, even though it's a close fight.
Yeah, and in which case, like, it's just as simple as that. Like, you know, it's a sharp field, you know? Like, people are going to realize that, and they're going to take advantage of it, just like, you know, how we're talking about right now. So
if she, like, continues to fight in the same style that she has been, she's going to land a lot of significant strikes, and it's going to pile up, just like it did for her last fight.
All right, yeah, I definitely... Yeah. No objections whatsoever. The 8,200.
I like Vivian too. She's really good. I just think that Andrea Lee is like actually like on that level now. I think she's getting there.
Of course. Here's in this fight, including a girl that I know you're a big fan of, in Angela Hill, taking on the -190 favorite Virna Jandiroba. In terms of these price tags on DK. Virna checks in at an $8,500 tag. Angela Hill checking in at $7,700. I'm gonna back the favorite here in Virna Jandiroba. Whether or not the -190 money line favorite is that could be up for question. Like, you know, I'll be interested to see how that might move if it does. But no, I think it's a solid bet here. Angela Hill, like, I love Angela Hill. I think is a blast to watch.
Big
I think
fan.
Hashtag
bitch fucking season. That's like one of my favorite fight week like mottos of all time.
Yeah, man, she's exciting for sure. I definitely want to see her go far, but
her record is like so not indicative of how good she is. That's the sad part. Like, what is she? 13
and it's unfortunate.
11?
Coming off the Amanda Lemos fight.
Well, she's Amanda, like, even though she got finished fairly easily by Andrade, Amanda Lemos is really good.
In terms of Angela Hill, like, this is someone that's, you know, you're not going to put down, like, easily whatsoever.
No.
Like,
the thing about her record, though, like, you go on those other fights, like, there's, like, 3 of them on there that you could say are, like, you probably won. Like, I thought... Like, I remember the Claudia Gadelia fight. I thought she won that one. Like, I thought that was crazy that she lost. The Waterson one I thought was very close. So I'm not as mad about that one. But she's had, like, many fights like that.
Do you think this fight against Virna Jandiroba is a step up for her? Or just, you know, more, I guess, like, plateauing to where she already is?
Consistent. Around the same. I think they're in similar spots just based off, like, what's kind of happened in the last few fights. I will say this, though. It's a typical striker versus grappler type fight. I think that if it stays on the feet, Angela Hill can maybe walk her down and piece her up, but I just don't think it's going to stay there for 3 rounds. And I think the moment it hits the ground, Virna Jandiroba is going to be able to submit her, like, fairly easily. Because she's very underrated on the ground, although that is like her strong suit, which is crazy.
The sites don't think of Virna Jandiroba's submission finishes as really too far out of the realm whatsoever.
Yeah. It's just
the best odds
she's shown, well, because that's her style for one, and then Angela Hill, she's shown problems getting taken down by people who aren't even really the greatest wrestlers, and I think that someone who's as good at jiu-jitsu as Jandiroba is, it's not going to take long.
As a plus 300 on FanDuel, where you're going to get the best value for that, don't hate that whatsoever. It could, honestly, like, maybe if the odds were a little higher, I would be a lot more inclined to go in. I think it's honestly pretty fair. I wonder how you, I mean, plus 300, then, I think that's fine. But in terms of a fantasy fight, like, you know, in terms of, is this worth getting to by either side? Do you like this? Do you like the savings you get on it? I mean, because I think you think
I'd say Jandiroba if anybody, because if anyone's gonna get a good finish, it's probably gonna be her. I don't see Angela Hill knocking her out.
But even if Angela Hill can get this, which she very well can,
I think it'd be by decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think she can she does enough, whether it's on the feet or
it would
the
be
ground.
probably her walking her down and crowding her to the point where she can't get her down, like where she has no other choice but to shoot, but like it's a telegraph takedown. I just don't see that happening though.
Just keep pressure on her. And
yeah. The way I see it is, I think Angela Hill might be able to do that for like the first minute, but Jandarova, like even though she's not a great striker, she does like have heavy hands, and she kind of like I think that she won't let herself get back down like that. Like I think she'll be coming out swinging, and I think because of that, Angela Hill will have to let up, and I think when she does, that's when Jandarova is going to get her down and probably submit her within the same round.
Well, yeah. I mean, this last prelim spot I really wanted to touch on because I think it does contain probably my favorite on the entire card. In Tatsuro Taira, taking on Carlos Candelario, the minus 240 Tatsuro Taira, $9,000 on DraftKings, taking on the plus 195 underdog Carlos Candelario, who checks in at a 7,200 tag. The sites seem to agree as well. I mean, like you said, like you have Tatsuro Taira at $9,000, and it just. You can't really object to it, I don't think.
When you, like, click on them to get their buy, like, does it say their stances, too, by chance? Because if it does, just click on, like, one of them. Like, I just want to... No. You might have to go on Tapology for that. I kind of want to see what their stances are to make sure I'm, like, actually right about what I'm about to say. But...
Tatsuro Taira.
If I'm not mistaken, this might be, like, a easy matchup for Taira.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling as well.
Does it not say here either? Am I wrong?
Weight class.
Get out of here. It usually says though.
No, it doesn't look like it says.
Well, if I'll stand on this because I'm pretty sure I'm right. I wanted to confirm it. But Tatsuro Taira, he's orthodox, and then Candelario is southpaw, which makes it easier for Taira to get him to the ground, and because of that, I think it's Taira, like, by any way he wants, pretty much. That's just, like, because he's an unorthodox striker. He's unorthodox everywhere. I just think that's going to throw Candelario way off. Like, I don't have much to say besides I think that Tyra's pretty easy.
And that's why. That's pretty much what does it for me. I think all the avenues that he can get it done, that I feel like Carlos Candelario is going to just give to him. It's just all about, picking the spots. I don't know if it's more picking his spots or just, waiting for Candelario to give him that opening. But
yeah. Good luck to Candelario, man. That's all I gotta say. Good luck.
Man. And that's that. Like, Tatsuro Taira.
One play I did actually want to talk about before we do end it was the Maximov Petrosky
the
fight.
curtain jerker here between Nick Maximov, the minus 350 Nick Maximov, and the plus 270 underdog Andre Petrosky, who I was about to say Tatsuro Taira I think is actually the largest favorite on the card. No, that is indeed Nick Maximov here.
Yeah, I think that's fair too. I think it's a closer fight than it should. Like, I think that people think, but I don't think that matters. I think it'll end in the way that people need it to end. Because Petrosky,
for sure.
He's a powerful wrestler. He's got, like, just everything that he does is about power and strength. And because of that, his cardio usually fades, and I think that's what's going to happen in this one. I think Petrosky might get a good first round, and then Maximov wins rounds 2 and 3.
Yeah, and
maybe even submits
I
him.
easily just see Maximov just piecing him up, honestly.
He's got underrated kicks, too.
Yeah, exactly. Legs, the hands, whatever it might be.
Yeah. I like Nick Maximov a lot. I think he's a good fighter.
The only reason I kind of glossed over because in terms of like this compared to the Tatsuro Taira fight, I think Tatsuro Taira is I like Tatsuro Taira's chances to get a finish done quicker than Nick Maximov. Just feel like.
Oh, literally the only reason why I wanted to talk about it is just because I'm excited for it. That's it. Like, not even gambling.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about
that's just
betting
gonna be a good
numbers
one.
and whatnot. Maximov, he's priced like at $9,300, which makes him the most expensive fighter on the card. He's the largest favorite on the card, and yeah, it's essentially it. Plus 275 to win by a knockout, plus 120 to win by decision, plus 350 to win by submission. So
we got a fun one. I'd say whatever you're doing on Saturday
yeah, we
night,
definitely do have a fun one. Like, I think there's a ton of like finishes that this card could entail for sure.
And some good fights just in general, like a lot of close matchups. Maybe
which
some that are closer than others.
in turn is going to make for a very fun fantasy card as well. So
I got my one lineup in for now. Might stick with that one, honestly, just because. But after last week's disaster, fucking Cowboy Joe those on.
No shame in one lineup whatsoever.
Yeah, I might have to take it easy after that. I was pretty confident about Lozon winning that fight. Now I really am, but that's besides the point. But I guess we can probably just get into the main event.
Yeah, we can just get into our picks. I just guess a quick rundown of the entire card. Sites are pretty, on the same. Yeah, there wasn't really like any disagreement, because usually we'll have like that one clear disagreement on something between the two sites. They're on the same page for pretty much everything here. Which I mean, I think I don't really have all that much of a disagreement with either. I guess outside of like a few props, like it was Ion Cutelaba was a knockout prop, which I guess is a tad questionable, but
I think if he wins, that's the way it happens. Personally,
all right.
I just don't think he's gonna win. I think it's disrespectful to put Ryan Spann on that low of a level just because of one fight.
All right, man. Well, then, without further ado, just get into these picks.
Yeah.
In which case, the main event, like I said, I'm a huge Jan Blachowicz fan. I would love to see him get back to the top. I would love to see him as light heavyweight champ again, but it's just, I don't know. It's the time period thing. I think Rakic could very well come back. Like as much, I just think with Jan, it makes sense. It makes sense for that last fight to take a toll on Jan, like more than Alexander Rakic, especially with the time off that Alexander Rakic has taken as well.
Just mentally.
Yeah.
I think it's different. I thought it was funny when he said, he goes, when I lost the title, it tasted like shit. Never tried shit, but that's probably what it tastes like. I was like, what a quote. Like, I love that guy so much, man. He's hilarious. Dude. Like, the shit that he says before fights. Like, he's not even trying either. He's just like, that's just what he's like. He's a funny dude. But... yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Like you said before, it seems like it's a crossroads type fight, and even, like I said, stylistically, the way that Jan wins this fight is probably by closing the distance, and I think he's going to have a hard time doing that once his leg gets kicked a few good times. And, Jan has good leg kick defense, which is, pretty rare, honestly. I feel like a lot of people just take him, but he checks a lot of them. But the thing is, I think it's just Rakic is going to put them on at perfect points. You're not going to be checking a leg kick when you're blitzing in for an overhand left. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just, I think that he's going to land them at the right times. They're going to land in the right spots, and it's going to stifle his movement within the first couple rounds. And then after that, I think that's when Rakic might be able to put it on him.
All right. And then, obviously, moved on to this co-main, which, at least, once again, the Vegas odds and the numbers and whatnot, I think this is going to be, I guess, a relatively easy win for Ion Cutelaba. I'm going to still, while I don't, maybe the numbers, I agree with you in that sense, the numbers, I think Ryan Spann is being slept on, quite a bit here. I am going to back Cutelaba here as the moneyline favorite, and I'm going to assume you're going to go with Ryan Spann.
Yep, by knockout.
I'm
going to go with it.
All right.
I think it'll be later in the fight, but I think he'll finish him.
Davey Grant, Louise Smolka. Davey Grant, I think that's a relatively easy one there. Caitlyn Chukaygan, Amanda Hebos. I'll go with Chukagian.
Same here. When's the last time we got to actually pick through the whole card? These cards are honestly, 20 fights long.
Yeah, but exactly. This was. I don't even remember what the shortest card we had since this one was. But
yeah. We should do a rundown, though, in the end. We definitely say some of our picks as we're doing it, but just that last little...
Yeah, of course. Frank Camacho, this from Frank Camacho, Manuel Torres. I was liking Camacho here. I was liking Camacho here a bit in the sense that, if I'm going to go with Frank Camacho, then it's likely going to be because I think it's going to end in the first round in his favor. But, I just think, Manuel Torres has I think, the easier path to victory, whether it's by a knockout because of Frank Camacho just leaving an opening wide open for Manuel Torres to take, or just a decision victory by however that might go. Which
I think Torres is from Mexico too, so that basically eliminates all chances of a first round finish for Camacho, in my opinion. Those guys have the best chins in the game. Yeah. So just pointed that out there. So if you're thinking that Camacho's going to get an easy first round finish, I don't know about that one. Unless it's by submission, but it ain't going to be by punches.
No. And I mean, as I'm going through, like, let's do in the order I guess we did it. We just broke down the card with Michael Johnson, Alan Patrick. I'm going to side with the favorite here in Michael Johnson as well. Viviane Arroyo, Andrew Lee. I'm going to side with the favorite, Andrew Lee. So,
yep, me too.
If I had to give an underdog, and if I had to give an underdog pick, I think I feel pretty good in it being Angela Hill over Virna Jandiroba. Just like, I think as long as she doesn't get, like you said, submitted, as long as that she can avoid that, any real trouble on the ground, I think she should be able to do, whether it's by shots or control time, whatever it might be.
Yeah. I think mine's obviously Ryan Spann, another underdog that I'm not confident in, but I don't even want to get too far into this fight, but just to mention it, I think that Jake Hadley shouldn't be like too much of a favorite over Nascimento just because of style. I think like it's possible that he gets submitted, and Nascimento is down there, so I'm like, you can keep that in mind, but that's it.
Well,
nothing too major in that fight, honestly.
That being said, we are on to the weekend, and we hope you guys have a great one. Hope you enjoy this card, of course. Remember, different start time than usual, 7:30, later start time. Whatever, it is what it is. I personally would rather it start earlier, but...
What's happening with Bellator? Because that's probably today, and it might be, like, early.
Yeah, let's check it out.
Because I think it's in London. I don't even want to get... I know MVP's fighting. That's all that, like, I really care about.
Bellator 281.
Let's see what it's looking like. Probably already's happened. That's weird. I don't know.
No, yeah, I'm not seeing it.
Oh, wait. There's one. It was British time, though. We might be able to figure this out.
That?
It was, like, the BBC time.
Oh.
9 p.m. Get the fuck out of here. There's no way it's 9 p.m. Here, click on... Nah, forget it. Actually, just look up what time it is. I'm just kind of curious. I want to watch it.
Start time.
Because it's like when it's in Europe, you never know whether it's going to be 2 p.m. or like fucking 11 at night. Like, who knows? Like, they don't even...
Time is Bellator 281. 4 o'clock.
Okay, oh wow. So this will probably be up like in the midst of it. So hopefully we'll be able to get it up before the MVP fight. But probably worth watching. Logan Storley, good wrestler. Michael Venom Page, obviously one of the best strikers in Bellator. That should probably be a good fight. I like it. Just wanted to note it, as like I always do. Like if there's a good fight going on in another promotion, I always want to make it known.
Of course.
But hopefully we'll get this video up by the time that this fight happens. So.
Yep. And of course, enjoy it, guys. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday.